It's early afternoon, St. Johns County. I'm the Philosopher Pirate, and this is Florida at Large. I haven't uploaded a video for a bit, and I'm not going to say for a minute, like Gen Zs. There was a reason. I basically had to do some actual work instead of the work that I really enjoy, which is shooting these videos. And so I haven't really shot a video. Well, some things have been happening, not just in Florida, but in the United States and worldwide. And I felt I was compelled. Because if I just put a little short post on X or one of the social media platforms, it could be easily misunderstood. My example is there's a lady in Lakeland, Florida. And I don't know if she's a lady or not, but she's a mother of three and very frustrated with an insurance. And she unfortunately quoted a book which is now very controversial because a shooter in New York City who was captured in Pennsylvania kind of quoted the title of that book, but not exactly, with words like deny, oppose, defend, use. I don't know. The point I'm making here is there are some better words that we can use. The words that I would prefer that we use in our discourse with every issue that we may come across is something that my grandmother taught me when I was a very young boy and or young child, if we want to be gender unspecific. What she taught me was watch. That's the first word, watch. Second word, listen. The third word, report. And we repeat that cycle over and over until we are satisfied that we have exhausted the reporting and it's not going anywhere. We've reported to authorities. We've reported to our friends, our families. We've reported to whomever, to the horse's mouth, to the party that we had the trouble with which we had the trouble. And that was the way I was explained how to resolve things, not ever to resort to violence unless we're at war or you're defending. One is defending oneself. Serious threat to the family, friends, themselves. I understand. And what I think we have moved to as a society now is we want things to happen so quickly, and they don't. It took a long time for the insurance and healthcare industry, not really insurance, health management, to get so far out of hand. It took many, many years. It goes back to the 1940s and 50s when employers started providing health care. I'm not going to go down that whole argument. What I'm going to say is, well, we've exhausted every possibility. When we watch, we listen, and then we report. Then we vote. And now there's many ways to vote. Voting basically means making a choice to affect change. That's what voting means, a choice to affect change. So if I make a choice to travel to a ballot, cast my vote, which I just did recently here in the state of Florida, my vote was for candidates and for issues. And I did affect change because my vote was in the majority in every case that I went to. And those issues were kind of minor to me. So I felt that I was on the right track because, others had voted the same. But even if they did not, my minority opinion still shows that maybe if a candidate had won a race and it wasn't by very many votes, then they realize they don't have a mandate. They just have a simple majority. If the vote is overwhelming, then that forms the candidate. Minority is still important, and I need to respect it. Not as important. It didn't just barely win. There are other ways to vote. Let's say we live in an HOA, or we live in a state where we don't agree with the general philosophy, the laws that are in place. We can vote with our feet. We can walk. We can move, relocate. There's some other ways we can vote. We can vote with our purse, our pocketbook, our wallet. We can support candidates. We can support issues by making donations. We can support charities we believe in with a donation. And that's voting basically with our wallet, our pocketbook, or our purse, whatever terminology you want to use. But it all starts with watching, listening, and reporting first. And then we move to the process of voting. And I don't ever believe we should vote for violence, unless, of course, it's absolute last resort. In the case that we're seeing here, it was not the absolute last resort. This could have been handled better, but I'm not going to get into that whole issue because everybody's talking about it. I'm going to make a vote right now. I often use curbside pickup at Walmart, giant Walmart corporation. And what happens often, purchase this can of chili. What happens often is I receive dented merchandise, which could potentially be unsafe. You can see the seam. I'm not going to consume this. Wouldn't buy it from the shelf, and it should have never been placed on the shelf, and it should have not been provided to me with curbside pickup. There's another one on the seam. This is all the same order, by the way, and this was the Walmart in Florida City. This can is dented here and also on the seam. Again, all the same order. Matter of fact, every can I ordered in this order was dented. This one also dented near the seam again, and also here near the seam. This one dented on the seam. All of these were purchased in the same order. Now, how am I going to vote? Am I just going to throw these in the trash and just chalk it up to a bad experience, education? No, I'm not going to reward bad behavior. Obviously, the employees at this particular Walmart location, because it seems to happen at that one, and there's also one in Fort Lauderdale that I have a similar issue with, but purchasing at Walmart's in the Panhandle, I'm in Northeast Florida right now, I haven't had a single problem like this, because I think the employees are trained to, if they wouldn't consume it themselves, if they wouldn't eat it themselves, like I have stated in my food safety ramblings, then they shouldn't select it for me if they wouldn't consume it themselves. Now, maybe these young ladies and young gentlemen that are selecting these, maybe they just don't know any better. Maybe they weren't taught about food safety. But their supervisor at Walmart should have taught them about food safety. And, I could name the CEO of Walmart and say, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. I was doing videos like that, but in the era of the latest disturbing trend on the internet and also overreaction by law enforcement and politicians, Governor Shapiro in Pennsylvania, he has to understand that there's a great frustration out there in the country. Terrible healthcare. And I'm a victim myself. I have very little feeling in these two fingers because of my workman's comp situation. And basically, the insurance company that I was assigned to, the third-party administrator that I was assigned to, the doctors and nurses, they even stole my identity during this whole process. And yet, I still don't have full use of these fingers like I had before. So it has impaired my ability to work. Am I embittered enough to take arms, resort to violence? No. I am going to keep watching. I'm going to keep listening, and I'm going to keep reporting like I'm doing right now. I'm reporting to you. And when I exhaust all those, I'm going to vote. And that vote might be with a action in the judiciary, which means file a lawsuit. But I was taught by my grandmother and my grandfather, both sides of my family, to go to the horse's mouth first. Go to the source. I'm going to give the perpetrators that failed me a chance to resolve it. And I will exhaust those efforts within reason. And when I have exhausted those efforts and gave them a full chance, then I'm not going to resort to violence, but I'm going to action through the judiciary and also perhaps politically protesting, because that's another way I can vote. I can vote to protest. I can stand in front of their operations with a cardboard sign stating my grievance with a QR code that they can scan and go to a video on YouTube. That's the way to handle things like this. Action like the young man did in New York City is not the proper way to handle it. But I completely understand his frustration. That does not mean I condone it in any way. So when I've made these videos in the past about CEOs being ashamed of themselves, that's exactly what I mean. In Walmart, the manager of the store that I mentioned earlier, you should be ashamed of yourself. Whoever's training these employees, you should be ashamed of yourself. And Walmart as a corporation, you should be ashamed of yourself for allowing this to happen. And guess what I'm going to do, folks? After I finish this video, I'm going to initiate a return, curbside pickup return, so it costs them even more labor to walk out to my vehicle and accept these items for a return, and then they'll have to deal with it from there. If I walk in and stand in line for 2 hours at their customer service counter, I'll be doing a disservice to myself. It'll be wasting my time. I'm going to waste their time by returning these items, and this is what I've done in the past. I've returned them curbside pickup, basically curbside return, because I'm not going to reward bad behavior. That is how I am voting. I'm voting by sending them a message, wasting their time and their labor because they wasted my time and my labor, and it cost them money. So I'm voting with my pocketbook, I'm voting with my wallet, my purse, because I will receive a refund. Even if it's in the form of a store credit, I'll purchase something again at Walmart. But I will opt to have it returned to the credit card that I use, payment method. Folks, that's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I, again, want to make it clear that when I have shot videos and so forth concerning reporters and CEOs and so forth, I truly mean what I said. They should be ashamed of themselves. But I'm never condoning that they should become a target of anything but shame. I'm the Philosopher Pirate. This is Florida at Large. Early afternoon, St. Johns County.